In this example, we will show how a joining operation is done using LINQ. Here we have defined a class called person with two string attributes. And there is a class called pet. In the pet class, own attribute will contain an object from person class. Then we will create a set of objects from these two classes. All the objects are added into two lists. Then we can write queries for these two lists. Then for the button click event, we will try the joining query. Then this is the execution of the query and the result will be added to the list box. Then we will run the program. And we can see that by clicking this button, all the pets and their owners are shown in this list box.
LINQ to SQL provides language integrated data accessed by using LINQ's extension mechanism. It builds on ADO.NET to map tables and rows to classes and objects. LINQ to SQL uses mapping information encoded in .NET. Custom attributes are contained in an XML document. This information is used to automatically handle the persistence of objects in relational database. A table can be mapped to a class, the table's column to properties of the class, and relationships between tables can be represented by properties. LINQ to SQL automatically keeps track of changes on objects and updates the database accordingly through dynamic SQL queries or stored procedures. This is why you won't have to provide the SQL queries by yourself most of the time. In LINQ to SQL, the data model of a relational database is mapped to an object relational model. Developers using Visual Studio typically use the Object Relational Designer, which provides a user interface for implementing many of the features of LINQ to SQL. The Object Relational Designer, called as OR Designer, provides a visual design surface for creating LINQ to SQL entity classes and associations based on objects in a database. It also generates a strongly typed data context that is used to send and receive data between the entities, classes, and the database. The OR designer, the called as Object Relational Designer, also provides a functionality to map stored procedures and functions to data context methods for returning data and populating entity classes. The entry point of LINQ to SQL is data context. It does connecting to the DBMS, retrieving data, and submitting changes. The first step in building a LINQ to SQL application is declaring the classes you will use to represent your application data, your entities. Each table in the data source must have a corresponding class decorated with attributes.
In this example, we will show how we can access a database using LINQ. First, we have to do the object relational mapping using the object relational designer. In the designer, this part is for the stored procedures and this part for the classes and associations. When we look at the Save Explorer, we can see that our database is already connected and we have to drag and drop the relevant table to this part.